Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be a reading on 1144 and 144, and we're looking at the twin flame energies that surround that. So if you've been seeing that a lot, this is going to be your reading. And before we get into the cards, I want you to know that the first thing I heard when I started thinking about these numbers and feeling into them, I heard true surrender. And so for those of you who are seeing that number combination, this is about true surrender to the twin flame experience. And I'm hearing this in many ways before we pull the cards. First of all, I'm hearing that you may have been in resistance to the journey somehow. So you may have been telling yourself that it's not real, maybe trying to convince yourself that where you are now isn't where you should be. And I'm going to go back to that shortly. But there's this sense that you may be dealing with some amount of doubt or fear that you had gone crazy, fear that you had an obsession with someone, fear that you had a mental issue going on. But there's this sense that you're being asked to surrender to the journey. Now, let me be clear. This is not about surrendering to a person. This is about surrendering to the impact, the lessons that this journey is meant to teach you. And so that brings me back to the other point that I had stated earlier, that where you are now is where you're meant to be. And certainly there is a trajectory that you are meant to follow based on your soul blueprint. And what I'm hearing is, for those of you who have been on this journey for some time, maybe you're even used to the separation and the silence. It doesn't bother you anymore because you're not pining after your person as much, which is probably why you're in a state of doubt, because you're like, but everybody else is still madly, deeply, pining after their person. And I saw 222, so you may be seeing that a lot as well. And you're like, but I'm not. I'm in a place of peace. I'm in a place of surrender. So what I'm also hearing for you is it's time to apply the lessons that you learned on this journey to where you are right now. So if you're in a connection right now, and I'm not talking about one that could be abusive in any way, but if you're in a connection that you recognize has lasted in spite of the upheavals and the awakening process that you've gone through, then the divine is saying it's time to apply what you've learned to that relationship. 313. It's time to let the new you come through in that particular situation. Now, for those of you who are like, I haven't been with anyone for such a long time, for you, this is about your mission. This is about even how you are showing up in the world. And I'm being drawn to so many synchronicities. So I'm feeling that for you, you may be bombarded with a lot of number synchronicities along your path or in recent times. Because you're seeing combinations of threes. Maybe you're being awoken at 333 again, because you're going to a next level of your awakening. And this is about you once again applying the lessons that you've learned on the journey to all the aspects of your life, be it in platonic connections, be it in romantic situations, be it with your personal self-expression, or be it in your mission. And that's how you show that you're in a state of total surrender or true surrender to the twin flame experience. See, many times we think that true surrender is about holding space for the masculine or waiting for him somehow, or putting off relationships that you are interested in, relationships that are coming your way. You think that true surrender is saying no to them and waiting. But the divine is like, true surrender is about you living your life life from this new version of yourself, from this new place that you have come into, and allowing the experiences and people who are connected to this new frequency that you're giving off to really have place in your life, and to allow those things to bring in new love, new lessons, new money, new mission into your life as well. Now, for those of you who have been looking for the mission message, I'm going to be posting that before the end of the week. So let's go ahead and see what messages, additional messages, want to come through. For those of you who are really drawn to 1144 and 144 as numbers, I'm hearing it's surrendering to the divine plan. Because some of you know that you're meant to take a certain action and you haven't taken it because you are trying to convince yourself that you're not ready, that you're not good enough. Just because you may have stumbled a few times along your path, just because the masculine hasn't shown up in your world, you feel like you must be doing something wrong on this twin flame journey. And the divine is like, I heard there's a timing to this thing. There's a timing to this thing. Just like there was a time set for your birth, there's a timing to this union. And you pausing everything in your life and waiting for the masculine to come in, or you putting off your joy and happiness, waiting for that time when you'll be with your masculine, is a surefire way to cause the timing to seem delayed, because it's the surefire way that you're not going to be ready from a place of your frequency and alignment for the union that you seek. Okay? True surrender is all there is. True surrender. Queen of Wands. See, there's nothing you cannot do. And some of you are really tripping yourself up with thoughts. Maybe you're waking up with these thoughts in mind too. And maybe you've been having nightmares, because I saw someone like the horror of it, like there's that expression on the person's face. And maybe some of you have been working with your crystals a lot, trying to calm yourself, but for some reason some of you feel a little anxious because you've been focusing on the doubt. You've been focusing on the idea that you will not have what you desire. You don't have to chase what's yours. You don't have to chase what's yours, because what's yours is already yours. And I want you to think about that, which is one thing that is so important to me in terms of reprogramming the feminine energy perspective that's in this Twin Flame Tarot community. And this is why I created the Twin Flame Reset and Recovery Bootcamp. If you've never heard about it, check my website. You're going to see that it has to do with structured shadow work and reprogramming of your mind that's really going to help you to make positive and powerful changes in your life. And if you're not doing the work, how can the work for you? The work is what facilitates change, right? And change is inevitable. So it doesn't matter how long you've been trying to put it off. There is a time when the change will then be thrust on you. So why not take action now? It's Joe Dispenza who says, take the action and initiate the change in your life. Yield to the change, because then it's so much more meaningful and it may be less painful, okay, versus having something thrust on you. So the shift I would love for the feminines to make in this community is to recognize that once you already have something, there's no need to chase it. So why is there a need to chase the masculine? Why is there a need to compete with someone else for the masculine? Why is there an over focus on the karmic? Why is there this overabundance of messages that focus all your attention on the person that you already have? Why not focus that attention on you to call in these things that are meant to be yours, that you are working on manifesting with your co-creative powers? So if you already have something, if I already have this, will I be chasing it? Only if I'm pushing it away from me. Only if I'm pushing it away from me. So if you find yourself in this place where you're chasing, then there's action that you're taking. There's a way that you're being. There's things that you're thinking that's causing you to push them from you. So we have to get out of that chase energy and recognize that everything that is yours is already yours. And you can't. My grandma would always say, if it's yours, it can never not be yours. Okay, so the Queen of Wands is out. This is about you believing in yourself. This is about you knowing who you are. You are not on the shelf waiting for him to recognize your worth. And I saw 1111, 1111, twin flame synchronicity. So you're not on the shelf waiting for him to choose you. Okay, and your happiness and everything isn't on the back burner waiting for an appointed time. Like, you can have your happiness now. And if your happiness is only in having the masculine, then we have to check ourselves, because the masculine energy isn't the only thing in our lives. That's not the only place where you get joy. And if the joy that you get from them is more powerful than the joy that you get from the divine, then we have to check ourselves again, because now we've made that masculine energy God. And you know that you are never separate from God. So your ultimate joy is always in the divine, and the divine is always with you and easily accessible to you. So this idea that everything is on hold until he manifests into your reality is actually tripping you up. And that's why it brings me again to true surrender. So many of you are so powerful, but when it comes onto the masculine energy, you allow yourself to assume this timid, powerless role, subservient role. Let's see what else is here. And I'm hearing there's a need to balance things. You can love the masculine, but still love yourself and still choose yourself. I'm hearing many of the feminines who are seeing this number combination this month and into March. Okay, I heard into April. If you're seeing it in an overabundance, it's about the fact 1313. It's interesting how we're seeing all these synchronicities come up in this particular reading. So that just tells me that you are getting so many nudges from God to really be clear about this message of true surrender, to really be clear about where you are on your path and what you desire, and aligning yourself to manifest that, whether or not the masculine is there. Because otherwise he becomes a crutch that you're depending on, and you are so much more powerful. You don't need a crutch. And so look, it says release. It's like release this tight rope that you want to have on the masculine, whether it's in the physical reality or energetically. It's like release it. And I'm hearing for some of you, you may have even been exploring like working magic on the masculine and intentionally trying to manifest him. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do as you are led. But if that's not something you're being guided to do, don't get caught up in it. Once again, you don't have to go in search of what's already yours. So this says release. Release your hold on this. Release the perspective that's holding you back. Release the ideas that want to tell you that you're not good enough because you're not in union. You're not good enough because you can't make it happen. You're not a divine feminine if you can't be with your masculine. Like, you are a twin flame, but you are not only a twin flame. And I want you to remember that always. There is a lot more to you. There are so many roles and duties that you are here to birth and to achieve. And the twin flame journey is your fast track to ascension. Why? Because there's stuff for you to do. There's something for you to become. There's a person, an agent in the world that you are meant to be. So the more you hold off, it's like the more you're in this energy of waiting around for your person, is the more what you're going to find is the Five of Cups. Loss, grief, sadness. Things not turning out the way you expected. I don't even want to make this too long because I feel like the message hit home already. Just sitting there and waiting for the masculine to be the end all and be all, to save the day, to make you happy. All of that is a disservice to yourself, because you deserve happiness. You deserve success. You deserve peace. So this is about making yourself unavailable to the stance that keeps you stuck. Some of you want to move away for your mission and you are holding back because you're waiting for him to come because you don't want to move without him. Some of you, you're afraid to embody who you are completely because you're afraid that he would judge you. But if it's your masculine, he won't judge you. He won't judge you. He will embrace you. Ultimately, he will. Okay? Because there's an aspect of you that represents him as well. And so this idea of putting everything on pause. Oh, I can't be with this other person, 1717. I can't be with this other person because what if the masculine comes around and I'm in a relationship? Then it's not time. Because just like this relationship could have been shown to you, and it's like the divine made it happen, orchestrated it, then why would you think that the divine can't orchestrate the time that's right when you are both free, single, and disengaged and able to get together? So if there is a masculine energy that wants to come into your space, now is the time for you to use what you've learned from this journey to do better and to be better and to have a more fulfilling connection. But if you keep holding back from this place of waiting around, you're bound to get to the Five of Cups, which is disappointment. So the divine says release. The divine says it's time for true surrender. If you want to be happy, if you want to be clear about what this journey is. So for those of you who are doubting, the divine is like, clarity can come in, but you have to be in a place of true surrender. You have to release the timing, release the person, release the journey to the divine. All right, that's what I'm hearing for you. Let me know if this was your message. Let me know what other synchronicities, numbers you've been seeing a lot, if they're outside of the ones that we talked about in here, and we'll tap into that energy for the twin flames right now as well. All right, I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.